This is our tier list of the most played 3-drops in Commander.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, joined by Amber, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. Videos every day. You know who we are, and you can support us with actual dollars on Patreon, which we would super duper appreciate. That's what's keeping this whole channel going. That's what's helping us get bigger and better every day. That's what helps Amber sit in these video intros.
Yes, it truly is. And if you become a patron, we will love you as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. Seriously, thanks to all of our beautiful, beautiful patrons. This video sponsored by the IntoTheAM. I know they put a "the" in front, which is not actually true, but the IntoTheAM makes amazing apparel that is both comfy, and stylish.
And helps you say words better, like comfy. They're comfortable. They get you tons of compliments in public. Let me tell you, from having experienced this shirt in public many times, plenty of compliments. I am currently wearing Astronaut Superhero Punch. What do you got?
I have Drippy, I believe that's Gay Planet. Drippy
Gay Planet. Yeah, and you can pick up these designs at the website. And as a matter of fact, from November 18th to the 25th, there's a big friggin' Black Friday sale, and everything's like 30 to 80% off.
30 to 80% off site-wide. And when you use our link, you will get an additional 10% off. So if you can find one of those coveted 80 sales, you'll be paying nothing. You'll be paying nothing. Not literally. You'll pay a little bit, but you'll be paying pretty much nothing.
Use our link so they know we sent you, and this is all going to be, we're gonna profit. You're going to profit. It's going to be the best day ever. And we're sponsored by Maraschiello. There's an ad somewhere in this video. You'll probably be able to tell where it is, but feel free to guess now. And happy birthday to everyone whose birthday is today.
Yes, so let's hop into this video. It is a tier list, meaning that, BZ, we have to bring in the coveted Nitpicking Nerds laptop.
Yes, and move Amber. All right, I've replaced my cat with the computer, and now we can do our shrinky-dink move.
It's world famous, and everyone is jelly when we do it. Let's do it. And
now small.
Yes, small and in the corner. So, BZ, what is this actual, what are all these cards?
Well, we're going from S tier to poop tier, which means the best of the best to the worst of the worst. We're rating the most played, that's right, the most played 3-drops from Commander. We did not choose these. These are just the most played ones. The only thing we did was exclude some of the, 3-drop, 3-color cards that aren't actually the most played. They're just most played percentage-wise. This is it. This is the cream of the crop in terms of what's seeing the most play, and we're going to rate them and see which ones are the best and which ones stink.
Yeah, actually, I did most played numbers-wise. So these are in the most decks just by pure numbers. So it's not a percentage thing. It is a numbers thing.
You gotta love it. Let's just start out with, let's go to Ashnod's Altar. It's 3 mana. You sack a creature, and you make 2 mana. This is like the combo killer machine artifact. This thing is like, if you see it, you gotta kill it.
Yeah, it's almost always a combo piece, right? Like, sometimes people are playing it in fair ways, but it's rare.
And you should still kill it.
And you should still kill it. This is, what, S or A? What do you think?
Let's give it A, and then we can maybe revisit as we put some more things down. It's about as good as it gets.
It is. It's really, really good, but if it's about as good as it gets, shouldn't it be an S?
I don't know. I'm looking at some of these cards, and I'm thinking this might be A.
Okay, so I think it is a solid A. It is very specific to archetypes. I will say that. This is not a generic card you can throw in any deck. There are definitely cards coming up that we can just throw in any deck. This is not one of them. You want to be playing Aristocrat, you want to be playing specific combos, and then you're really in for this card.
Yeah, Burnished Heart. 3 mana, 2/2. You pay 3 second, go get 2 basic lands. It's slow. Let's not pretend like this is the fastest card ever, and you should never touch it in a green deck. Outside of that, I haven't really even been playing this too much lately because the 6 is a lot to pay.
I would describe Burnished Heart as passable.
It's clunky, but passable.
I don't think it's a particularly bad card. I also don't think it's a particularly good card.
It's like a C.
I actually have it in D.
C minus D plus level.
Yeah, I give it a D. Like, I play it sometimes. I think it is a decent ramp spell. I think it's necessary for some decks, especially if it synergizes with what you're trying to do outside of green. Is it great? No. Is it something I'll play? Yes.
Yeah, I think out of my 14 decks, I have it in 1. And that's a budget deck.
Yeah, I don't really have it in many of my decks either. 1, I play a lot of green. And 2, I only have it in I'm building an artifact creatures deck, and I'm going to put it in there.
Yeah, but it's not like we play the highest power decks anymore. So, Burnished Heart, sorry. Next is 3 cards, really. It's Chaos Warp, but also Beast Within Generous Gift. These are like the same-ish spell. We're just going to lump them all together. And they're all great spell. Any one individually, I think, is what we're doing, not all 3 together.
Yeah, no. We're not combining them together.
They're all great.
These are all really good. I think these are solid A's. These are the go-to catch-alls. I love playing them in any deck that I can because I want to have at least 1, 2, sometimes 3 catch-all. If you're playing what is the color combination? Jeskai? No, green, white, and red. What is that? Naya. If you're playing Naya, you could just play all three of these. Have three nice catch-all answers.
You could. I think any one of them is great, and they're all super staples. They're all getting played all the time, but they're not like broken, and they're not auto includes. They're just staples. You can play them.
They're the industry standard, I would say.
Yeah, they're like the gold standard.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're looking for. When you're looking for a catch-all spell, look at Beast Within. Look at Chaos Warp and Language Making. All these cards that are 3 mana, answer any permanent. That's what you want.
All right, this next one. I still don't get it. It's Chromatic Lantern. All your lands tap for any color, and it taps for any color. It's a 3-mana rock. Also filling in for Commander Sphere, I believe. And these, we're just not super big on 3-mana rocks. It kind of has to do something as in make more than 1 mana or power up my deck in some way. And we've done the math, the internal calculations on Chromatic Lantern. We've seen our mana bases. They're pretty freaking good. They don't really need a ton of juice. It feels like people play this card because then they get to be lazy with how much mana and colors they can tap for. I do not like this card.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think this is a bad card. Chromatic Lantern is totally passable, and it does do something. Now, what I find weird is if you have a really strong mana base, and if you put a lot of money into your mana base, you don't need it, right? Almost ever, because you will have almost perfect fixing. You won't struggle.
That's what the mana base is for, making sure we don't get color screwed.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't really need this, but it's perfect for this trade binder deck where you open a Chromatic Lantern, you have it, and it's sitting there, and your mana base isn't that good because you're playing with what you have. I find it to be perfect for that situation, but that seems like a rare situation. But then again, I could be completely wrong. It might just be something that exists more than I think. I think this is a C. It's a passable.
Oh, it's a C?
I think so.
Oh, man. I just never, ever, ever play this card.
Yeah, I mean, and also, to be fair, I'm kind of having this stand-in for all Manalith Plus in this spot. So Manalith Plus, if it synergizes with your deck, is good, is playable.
All right, Commander Sphere. I'm just gonna pretend I gave Commander Sphere a C, and Chromatic Lantern in my head is in the poop nether regions.
To be fair, Chromatic Lantern also has a big boost in very, very specific niche decks.
Like so few decks that I almost don't even want to give these people credit.
I would steal your stuff decks.
Right, like the decks that no one's actually, people aren't really talking about. It's good in Send Triplets. I'm not going to say it's not.
Your Send Triplets deck, I mean, any deck that is playing your opponent's stuff, you would want to play this to even activate abilities. Like, say your opponents have like a Scavenger Use in their deck and you steal that. You do want it in decks that are going to have those scenarios come up.
Hate it. Cultivate and Kodama's Reach. They're staples. They're played all the time. We don't really play them too much, but certainly people do. These are about sea level, right?
Yeah. Oh, no. I think they're very much sea level. I think they're above Chromatic Lantern.
Yeah, I was going to do that too.
Yeah. These are good, playable, passable. Really depends on what kind of list you're putting together. I find that if you're putting together, again, a very high-powered mana base, your basic count tends to be very low, especially if you hit 3 colors. And I start to go away from searching up basic lands when I hit 3 colors because in my 3-color decks, personally, I play 6 basics. That's my go-to, my gold standard.
Yeah, and some of these decks, we're always going to play Nature's Lore 3 Visits first and Skyshore Claim. So they're all going in first. And then a lot of our decks are creature-based, and that's usually when I cut these cards too. So they're okay cards that I never play.
Yeah, exactly. They are totally passable. They're good. There's nothing wrong with ever having one.
Just can't ever find an excuse to slot one in.
Yeah, I think the only thing you have to be careful of is where's your basic count, because these do get 2 of them out. So, like I said, I play 6. I can easily start running out of basics if I cast this twice.
All right, Deflecting Swat. It kind of costs 3, but mostly it costs 0 if you have your commander and you can change the target of a spell. Really, you kind of don't want to be playing blue when you have this, but it can be like a sick blowout.
Yeah, this is Ness. This card is a card I underestimated in the beginning. I kind of thought, whatever, it's okay.
Because every other version of it was so medium.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you have to pay mana for this spell, it's not a good spell.
Stinks.
But when you don't have to pay mana for the spell, it's a really, really good spell, and it's a blowout.
It changes everything. It's like you can't play around this. You don't know if they have it. You never will.
Exactly. How could you ever know if they have?
It's frustrating.
Deflecting Swat. You can't. They tapped out every single turn the whole game. You think they have it? They might. It's possible, but are you going to sit here and play around it? No, you can't.
Yeah, it's not like some of these other cards that it's like, oh, they have 2 and a red up. I think they might have Chaos Warp. Or they tapped out. They don't have Chaos Warp. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
Deflecting Swat is great.
There is no predicting Deflecting Swat, though. You can predict it, and when you're right, you can say, haha, I was right, but it's like,
you still feel bad.
You still feel bad.
Because it means you got blown out.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go to Eternal Witness. This is When I think of green staples, I just think of Eternal Witness. It just gets back anything. It's a creature. You can flicker it. You can reanimate it. It's just great times all around. Is this an S just for like sheer playability?
I don't think so.
It's like an A for power. It's really good.
I was on A. Yeah, I think this card is an A. This card is great. Now, do not get me wrong. I am not hating on Eternal Witness. I love Eternal Witness. I play it in a lot of decks. I think its synergies with creature decks are amazing. I think there's a million reasons to play Eternal Witness in your deck, but I don't think it's an S. It is a clunky 3-drop.
It is a card that starts to get cut when you shift up into the high power, not quite CDH versions.
It's also a card that is weak early game. It's not always strong on any board state because you have to have something you want to get back actively in your graveyard, and it depends. Eternal Witness, I do think it's a huge boost from fetch lands.
Yeah, because sometimes you're just like, sweet, I need a land.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a huge boost for Eternal Witness, but not everyone's playing with fetch lands. Not everyone's playing in decks where they're putting lands into their graveyard. So I think A is a perfect spot for it. Top of A. It's a great card. Don't sleep on it.
It looks like A tier is shaping up to be fantastic cards, and then S tier is going to be like kind of broken cards.
The best of the best.
Right, like so good that no one can ever deny
I believe
it.
the kids would say the creme de la creme.
Oh, look, it's Fierce Guardianship, a 0-mana counterspell. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the broken/S tier slot. You can't predict it. You cannot stop this. You can't know about it. You're just going to have to run out of spell and then have your hopes and dreams dashed by a counterspell.
Yeah, these are really, I mean, again, just like we said before, you're not holding up anything.
They're amazing. It's so good.
You literally just have to have your commander on the battlefield, which is
trivial.
It is part of the game, is what you're doing in the commander format, and this one is a counterspell. We already know free counterspells are incredible. It's a design I'm kind of sick of because they've gone to this well way too many times, and it's annoying.
Yeah, for viewers of our top 100 blue cards in Commander of all time, this is like, I don't remember exactly where it ranked, but it's top 15.
I don't remember.
Like a blue cards ever for the format. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's obviously a 100% incredible card. And it's a 3-drop, but not really. It's a 0-drop.
It's another 3-drop coming up, but not really. Frantic Search just untaps 3 lands and you draw 2, discard 2. I love this card when you're trying to spell sling, but it is not by any means an auto-include. You kind of want specific synergies because this puts you down a card, but up a lot of like tempo when you move cards around in a nice way.
Yeah, exactly. This is a very high synergy card. It's not a card that I think it's a card that shouldn't be played much. But in the decks that it should be played in, where you're going to play it, this card is incredible.
Pretty sweet.
Like you said, you're going to untap those lands. Sometimes you're going to go mana positive in situations like that because if you untap something like a Nykthos,
or a bounce land even.
A bounce land. All these little things are going to put you up mana. No problem. And then you're going to discard things that you have a ton of synergy with. You're going to trigger
Magecraft or something.
Magecraft. You're going to trigger your Gutter Snipes, Young Pyromancers. Every single version of this you have on the battlefield is just going to be triggered. And because of that, this card now becomes, hey, I technically went down a card, but I got selection. I put things in my graveyard, and I probably have some flashback spells to go with. If you're playing this card, I'd be shocked if you don't have at least 2, 3, 4 flashback spells in your deck.
Or you just play like Archmage Emeritus and feel like you're cheating.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't even go down a card. You actually stay even.
You just draw a card.
Yeah, I think this is an easy B where it requires a ton of synergy. Like, you
got to build around it.
You really do have to have a deck that is like, I want to be drawing extra cards. I don't mind going down a card because my deck is filled with card advantage. But once you have that, this card's stupid. It's very
the real
stupid.
Deal.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a stupid card.
Yeah, let's go to Garrick's Uprising. It's an enchantment. Draws a card when it enters if you have a 4-power creature. And then whenever you play one, you get to draw another card. And it gives your creatures trample, which is definitely surprisingly a spicy, relevant card, part of this card.
Yeah, this card is good. I think of it very similarly to Frantic Search that we just talked about, where it's specific. Like, you have to have a lot of creatures with power 4 or greater, and when you do, it's going to be very, very strong in those decks. Now, it's not as busted as something like Frantic Search, but it's still a very good and strong Magic card.
Yeah, you can find that trample just cleaning up. I almost like this at top of C, maybe, because it's definitely like, when you do the thing, it's a little bit less impressive.
Oh, I think it's bottom of B.
Bottom of B still?
Yeah, I still think it's a B. I mean, I think that, B is a spectrum, right? Like, so when we're talking about B as a spectrum, yeah, we got up at the top, we have the Frantic Search.
We'll fill the gap.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're farther apart.
They are pretty far apart, and this is like the bottom of B, like, which is totally fair because like we don't have 37 different grades. If there was 37 different grades, I don't think they get the same grade. But only having 6 to work with, I think we can give it the same grade.
This next card is a card we don't play with won't play against nearly enough due to the fact that we disagree on it. It's Ghostly Prison, and I just want to be able to say that one of us is either underrating or overrating this card. But right now, Joe kind of is okay with it, and I just don't like it at all. This fills in the same boat as like Propaganda.
Yeah, I think it's exactly. Propaganda is literally the exact same card. I don't think this card's bad. Now, I am not saying run to it, play it no matter what, and put it in the deck. I think if you need specific strategies, I like it in controlling type list. I like it in enchantress type list where you want to protect yourself. But it's not broken at all. I'm still pretty, it's not like I want to put it high. I want to put it in C tier.
Yeah, see, I would stick it in poop tier, so that might mean we compromise at D tier.
I'm fine with compromising at D tier. I mean, I do think that this card it's passable and it gets things done in the right situations in combat metas. As soon as you see, if you're playing in a combo-based meta, obviously it's nothing, it's bad. I would never play it, but...
Draft chaff.
Yeah, draft chaff. But you can protect it from, but when you're protecting yourself from the combat metas, I think it does a good job.
Yeah, I just need to see it. I want to see this card be good. I don't think I have yet, but we haven't really played against it much. So it's not like the card's fault. We just have not seen this.
It's
card.
not like I play it.
Like, since we lowered our power level, obviously we knew it was like when we were playing combo decks. But now that we're not, it's like I want to see it more.
Yeah, it's not like we said, neither of us really put it in their decks because we're not super high on the card, but it's passable.
All right, Jessica's Will. It's just amazing. It's red card draw. It's probably the second best red card in Commander after Dockside, and then you just go mana/card positive every time.
Yeah, this card's really, really good. I think it's easy.
This is an auto include, right? It's an S tier.
Yeah, this is an S tier. This card's really, really good. If you're playing red, you can just put this in your deck. You almost
no problem. Don't even worry about it.
You don't really have to jump through any hoops. You don't have to have any synergy. It's just really good. Sometimes the ritual to cheat out your commander.
Yeah, that's the cool thing is like, you always want to play with your commander. Well, unless your commander's really expensive, then you can't always expect that. But again, guess what? You get to cheat out your commander 4 turns ahead of schedule.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I'll get all this extra mana. I'll cheat my commander out and be way ahead of schedule there. Or I just get both, which is what you always want. The draw and the mana just makes it so you almost never leave any of those cards on the table.
This is what I want in like a commander staple. Because it's like really good, undeniably strong, but it's not like a groaner. It's just like, oh, there's Jessica's. What's really good.
Yeah, it's not broken, but it's not broken while still having combos. So that's a good.
Yeah, it does combo.
It's a good card design. I think Jessica's Will is like you don't want everything to be as strong as Jessica's Will, but I think it's a great level.
I like it as the top end of design, not so much the deflecting sweats and the fierce guardianships.
Yeah, I like it. It's a much better because it costs mana.
Because you pay for it. Yeah. Well, actually, this one kind of still goes positive, but whatever. Let's go to my other soapboxy card. It's Croson Grip. 3 mana, we have always said is a premium we're not really willing to pay, with the upside being only split second. I do not think it matters as much that you need to counter some very hyper-specific combo that can't be done in response anyway, or isn't mana abilities that could just respond to this anyway. I don't like this card at all. What do you think on this?
I think that if you're going to pay 3 mana for naturalized effects, it has to be on a creature. You have to get a creature, you have to get a body so that it can synergize with your deck and do more.
Like cast it from your graveyard or get it multiple times.
Yeah, your Reclamation Sages, all those are playable Magic cards because they're creatures and they synergize with decks a lot more.
This is a one and done.
This is a one and done. It's an instant. It's in green. This is not a spell slinger color. And we have a million. We have like a couple good ones at 1. I guess we have 1. We have Nature's Claim at 1 mana, and at 2. Though we're not high on these cards, and though we're not going, hey, play Return to Nature, play Naturalized Effects at 2 mana, I think that overall almost all of them are better, even though I'm never playing this.
We do have Haywire Might, which is going to start being a 1 to 2 mana version. It's like that one's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's also pretty sweet. So I think that this is a poop tier, but I want to say this is a card that will play fine and will look fine almost every single time you play it. You are overpaying, it is overcosted, and the split second's not relevant 99% of the time.
You're secretly getting ripped off, I think.
Yeah, I think you are secretly getting ripped off because how relevant is the split second? I
know it saved you. I understand that it has saved you in the past, but I don't see how that is relevant to, is it worth paying 3 mana every time?
Yeah, you have to pay 3 mana every single time for an effect that is relevant 1 in 20 times.
I think 1 in 10 is very generous, and that is not enough for me to want to play this card.
I would say the amount of mana you spend is relevant 9 out of 10 times. Like sometimes
the amount of mana you have to spend for a spell, let's say between 1 and 3, is relevant at least 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, exactly. At least 9 out of 10 times. Whereas I think it's like split second is relevant 1 out of 20 times, meaning this card just doesn't really get there.
Math is not working out.
And not even close.
Yeah, let's go to Mayhem Devil. Whenever anyone sacrifices anything, you get to ping something for 1.
All right, we're way back to that B tier of like the strange, super synergistic cards.
When they're pulling it off, watch out.
Yeah, because when this card is very specific. It doesn't go on a lot of decks. But the decks it goes in this card is stupid. It's one of the best cards in the deck. It requires an answer, and for some stupid reason, this thing
Stupid.
it is very stupid because it triggers off of your opponent's stuff.
Sometimes your opponents just can't do things. Like, oh, I have a Blood Artist out, and I have a fetch land, but I can't fetch because then my Blood Artist dies.
Literally a fetch land.
Yeah.
Like it triggers off of fetch land. This card is very, very silly. It is the best version of like this, like sacrifice something, get an effect.
It's $3.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's good. It is a really, really good card. Like if you're in a red-black sacrifice, it is the best card in your list. Almost period.
Yeah, I mean, and let's say you're building a red-black sacrifice deck, and you want to put in Mayhem Devil, but you don't know how much it is. Well, you could just sort by price on Moxfield.com, and then you can know, whoa, this card's $3. I can't play it. I'm on a $50 budget. Whoosh, remove from deck. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, because you can just see the price right there.
Yeah, Moxfield.com is a deck building website that everybody should be using. And honestly, we use it for every single one of our decks. Something great about it is I don't even finish my deck sometimes. I get to put it in, close the tab, and then come back 2 hours later, 3 days later, a month later, and be like, hey, let me work on that deck that I made half of the other day.
Yeah, Moxfield doesn't delete your decks after a week. Perfect. So I'm thinking for that alone, we got to put it in S tier.
You got to put it in S tier.
It doesn't cost any mana, so it's even better than Fierce Guardianship. How does your opponent play around you building your deck on Moxfield?
Yeah, Moxfield constantly working on making the deck build. The deck building website. They are the deck building website. That is true.
Oh, soon to have social media? I can't wait for that. We're going to plug that so hard. You don't even know.
Yeah, but what I was saying is it's the deck building website, and it's for the people constantly making improvements for you.
Oh, yeah. Let's go to Opposition Agent. We have not had a single black card yet, and now we have 3 in a row. This steals tutors, so it's kind of funny because in high power, this card's really great, and it can win you the game by itself. And in the medium to low power, it might just do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It is kind of like all over the place card where when it hits, it's amazing. It's kind of silly how good it can.
Shut down your D tutor. Get my own.
Yeah, exactly. Steal the best card out of your deck. Maybe make it so you can't win by taking your like Thoracle in a high power game.
Right.
But
that's what I associate with this card.
Yes.
Mentally.
Yeah, but when you're playing it in those games where you don't even know if you're going to see tutors, it's not actually that good. I think this is a good B tier card. It's very strong.
I was thinking bottom of A, maybe.
Okay,
because you could like this even. If somebody cracks on Evolving Wilds, you still just wasteland them. It's kind of mean.
It is very
like,
mean.
oh, cool explosive veggies you got there. Nah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so it always does hit the ramp of any what is it called? Why can't I think?
Its power varies wildly, but sometimes you still just stone rain people.
Yeah, you're always gonna hit the ramp no matter in green, no matter what power level you're at, right?
Or like Burnished Heart. It was like, ooh, big tempo swing.
Oh, that means they lost 6. They paid 6 mana to get nothing.
To give you 2 basics into your hand, basically.
No.
Yeah. Yikers. All right, let's go to Phyrexian Arena, another soapbox-esque card that we really do not play. You draw a card on your upkeep and you lose a life. Obviously, it's 3 mana. How are you feeling about this one? Have you come around on this at all?
Not really, but I think it's just a C. For Phyrexian Arena, I don't think the card is bad. I just think it's vastly overplayed, and that it's something I don't feel the need to go to nearly ever. Is it bad? No, because it does almost always get 2 or 3 cards back. It's very rare that it doesn't.
It kind of sounds like we're in Burnished Heart territory with it, where it's like, yeah, it's playable, but we don't play it. Is that more of a D card?
I think it's like bottom of C.
Bottom of C? Ooh, it hurts my brain to do that.
I really do think it's bottom of C. It's a card that I don't think is necessary to play, but that when you play it, you don't feel too much of a loss. Like, it is a fine card.
Unless it's a late game, then you will actively feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. Unless it's late game. But most of the time, you get to play it before turns 9, 10, before the game's ending.
Yeah, let's go to Read the Bones. You're scrying 2, you're drawing 2, you're losing 2. Classic card. I do have a very special place in my heart for Read the Bones. That said, I do not think it is... I don't think Commander is its home.
I agree. I think this is one that just kind of ends up in the poop tier. This is divination, and
yeah, it's really below rate. It's very noticeably less than what I feel like I should be getting for 3 mana. Yeah, let's go to Rex Sage. Obviously, it's fantastic. You're getting 2 for 1 most of the time, just by the nature of it being in your deck because you're playing a creature deck. Oh, Carador, Marin, blah blah blah. Like reanimate it, go tutor for it. Toolbox, Birthing Pod. It's got like a million applications just being a creature. So that feels like B territory.
I don't know. I think it's the top of C.
You think it's top of C?
Yeah, I really do. I do think it's top of C. I'm not. Rex Sage, I think, has just become a card that, one, I love, but I think is slowly getting outclassed that I'm not going to anymore.
More options?
Yeah, there's so many better options.
I will say Druid of Purification usurped this as like the best creature that does that thing by a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And we just keep getting more and more versions of this. Like you said, the Haywire Mite we talked about earlier. I think your Marin decks and your Gyarados decks want Caustic Caterpillar before they want this.
They might, yeah.
And like, it's not that this is a bad card. You can throw this in any green deck and just be happy with it as an effect.
It does stuff.
As long as you have some creature synergies. But I do think it's top of C. I think this card is good.
Not the king anymore.
It really isn't the king. When it was printed, it was definitely king. Like it was, I guess, queen. It's definitely a female in the art, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Rexage is a female in the art. So definitely was queen of the format when she came around. Now she's kind of just whatever.
All right, Ristic Study's been queen or king or well, it's a book. So I don't know. But Ristic Study is like one of the best cards in the format.
Ristic Study is not a book.
It's an idea. It's like a state of being. I don't know.
It's
an activity.
It's like magical studying, I think. Yeah.
It's amazing. Do we have to tell you how good this card is? It draws a million cards, and if you don't kill it, you lose.
Yeah, this one's A. It's very, very much A.
S.
Oh, yeah, this one's
trying to give it A.
Sorry, S plus. This card is one of the best cards in the entire format.
It's creeping up on Moxfield, but it's not quite there.
I mean, nothing can reach Moxfield.
Yeah, it's tough. Moxfield's just so far ahead. Let's go to Rhythm of the Wild. We don't need to spend too much time on one of the best cards ever. This gives your creatures Riot, so they can either have a counter or haste, and your creature spells can't be countered. Sees a lot of play. I was surprised.
Yeah, Rhythm of the Wild is a totally reasonable card. Again, I think that this one's not busted or too good. And honestly, I'm not like super duper high on this card. I play a lot of red-green decks, and I have it in one of them.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is like a D card. Sometimes you'll go to it, and you'll be pretty happy with it, but I'm never really clamoring for this.
Yeah, I think that you want to play cards that, if you want this effect, you want to play cards that give your whole team haste without having to cast them. So you want to play Fires of Yavimaya.
I love that card.
You want to play Anger. You want to play
like Hammer of Purphoros.
Hammer of Purphoros. These are the effects you want to make sure your team has haste. This is just kind of a medium version of it. Though, if you're in a counter-heavy meta,
that's one way to fight back.
This is a good way to fight back, and this card can move up your tier list very easily. I could see it being like a high C in a meta with lots of counter spells.
If I had perfect pitch, I would totally give you a high C right now.
Oh, you can't, yeah.
But I cannot. So
can you even hit AC?
The Tyrant of Gyre Strait?
I've
punched that card before. Okay. If you have perfect pitch, hit a high C in the comments.
I'm just saying, could you hit a C?
If I had perfect pitch, I could. Hit a C in the comments, and the highest C in the comments will win a thumbs up.
Because for me, I couldn't. Like I don't even have an idea of what a C sounds like in my head.
Scoot Swarm, it's got a B written all over it. I think it's like super 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 annoying. It's a one-man army in the landfall decks. When you play this and go fetch land, cultivate or something, and everybody just goes, uh-oh, there's 8 of them.
I really do think that the key to this is being landfall. Don't just play this in a random deck. I've actually tried it. I thought Scoot Swarm has performed so well for me in the past. In my landfall deck, maybe I'll try it in other decks. And No, it just doesn't end up working. Like It's totally fine, totally reasonable, but it's so slow when you're not consistently ramping. It's like, sure, yeah, you go 2. Sometimes you, like, let's just say you have a fetch land, you go right to 4, but then, like, it's like next turn 8, next turn 16. It's
Maybe
like,
you miss a land drop.
Exactly. And this is like, it's not that good in those situations. Now,
we're thinking like B.
Landfall decks, this card's incredible. This is one of the best landfall cards.
It's scary.
It wins by itself, right? In landfall decks, it's low effort, win by itself. Play this 3-drop, play a land, and just go off.
Yeah, like you set it and forget it. Your investment was 3 mana, and you go, let's play a sub game of kill this or die. I'm just going to go ramp some more.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you don't play this before you have 6 lands.
That would be foolish.
Not that many people are, but I have seen it before where I'm just like, you don't want to do that.
Mm-mm.
You want to wait till it's making Scoot Swarms.
Even if you have nothing to do, I'd rather just skip turn 3 than put this thing at risk. Teferi's Protection. It's great. It's the best fog ever printed. It phases all your stuff out, and you can't lose, most likely.
Here's a good question. This is a very, very interesting one. Is it top of A, or is it in S?
I think it's top of A. It's purely defense. But like, not in the same way that even Deflecting Swat and Fierce Guardianship are. I would get a top of A, but I mean, I guess I'll let you decide if you want.
I think this is a totally reasonable spot for it. And like,
it's really great. You play it almost all the time. It's fantastic. I think it gets a little worse as the power level goes up.
It falls off in high power level for sure. Like,
unlike some of the other ones around here.
A lot of heavy combo metas, this isn't going to save you from a lot of the combos. Like, it's not going to save you from a Thoracle. Like, it's not going to be able to do that at all. But at the same time, it can save you from certain combos like Aetherflux Reservoir. But then again,
most likely it's just like, okay, I live to my next turn, die on my upkeep.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not going to make a difference. But On your upkeep, you cast Coast and Grip.
Whoa! Oh boy, we did it.
I think this card's really good. I think if you're playing 8 or lower power, this card is a go-to, a staple. You can literally throw it in every single white deck you have and just not feel it.
Is that 8 out of 10?
It's 8 out of 10 power level, yeah.
Toxic Deluge, best black board wipe in the format. It scales, but you pay life to scale it, not mana. So it's always 3 mana. It can be one-sided if you have the biggest creatures. It's just slices and dices, and you can't go wrong.
Absolutely. Like you said, this card is versatile in so many ways. Not only is it the cheapest board wipe you have in this format, well, besides Blasphemous Act and Vanquish War, but not only is it always the cheapest, like 3 mana is the cheapest you can get for a board wipe. It will take out indestructible creatures. It will take out hexproof creatures. Not that other board wipes don't do that.
Some don't.
That is true. Some randomly don't do it. You get to pay life. This is controllable. This is just the best board wipe in not only like the sense of like mana cost, in every way that it goes off. And it has synergies with decks that want you to pay life. Like, why not? Why not just have a random synergy like that for your deck?
Give me those Font of Agonies counters, please. So this is an S, I imagine.
Yeah, I think this is bottom of S.
Bottom of S. That looks good to me.
Yeah, I think that you don't see Toxic Deluge too much in very, very high power where creatures aren't that prevalent. But everywhere else, this card's amazing.
This is like black board wipe, number 1, easily. Let's go to Victimize. You sack a creature to reanimate 2 creatures. This feels to me right in that sweet spot of C's where it's like, I've played this card in budget decks. It's a pretty good card. Do I play it outside of budget decks? No.
It's funny. I think it is an outclassed card because I think this is a really, really good card where if we live in a world where there's no reanimations, no animate deads, and we can just kind of like, let's just cut out the 5 best ones.
People play this and are happy about it.
Yeah, like you cut this. Like after you get rid of those, this becomes like an A. Like because this card can play
relatively,
because you have to look at things relatively because we do live in a world where reanimate exists. We do live in a world where animate dead exists.
Same deal with Cultivate. There's just 7 better things to be doing.
It's like the card itself is very good and plays very strong, but has a lot of competition.
I kind of like it here.
Yes, I agree. I think it is a C. This card is good. Victimize is a good, not great card because of its competition.
Yeah, you just don't see as much as you might otherwise. Next card is Windfall. Everybody discards their hand and draws equal to the highest amount discarded this way. So I'm going to put this as this card sucks unless you're playing it in a specific deck, which would lead me to think maybe it's closer to the B territory. But I think this is a card when you're trying to increase your win percentage, you like cannot just throw in a random deck.
Yes, I agree. You do not throw Windfall into random decks. That is not what you want to do at all. That said, it is really, really, really good in your Nekusar type decks. Mm-hmm. In your decks that are playing Narset, Powder Veils, where you make this not actually symmetrical. Not fair at all. So in those situations, this card is really, really good, but it's niche. It's not a card that you just go, oh, I have blue, let's throw Windfall in. It's like,
it's interesting because unlike if we throw it, let's say we threw it in the bottom of B, unlike all these other cards, it is either terrible or pretty dang good. But all the rest of them are like somewhat passable. Like you'll get effects and triggers out of them. But like Windfall is like, no, you'll like lose the game. This you draw your opponent's like 7 cards.
Windfall is, yeah, like you said, when it's good, it's great. It's amazing. Like think of like a Xyrus deck. I think it's the flying snake.
Make a bunch of snakes.
Exactly. That card, it's stupid in that deck, right? Like
if you have like Smothering Tithe in play.
Make 21 snakes if you have Smothering Tithe in play. Synergy is the name of this card. We do tier lists all the time. Why don't you go check out the 2-drops or maybe the 1-drops? I think 2-drops is here though.
2-drops.
Peace out, Tribe Scouts.